Check, check, 1, 2, 3. Check, 1, 2, 3. Let everybody know if you can see and hear me clearly. Check, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If you can see and hear me clearly. You can see and hear me. There you go. Man, you say con. Praise Yahushua. All right. Let's share and get your like. They hit the likes up so we can get to going. Gonna get started. We are on Sirach. I think we're supposed to be on 41. Um, but we will. My wife wanted me to go back over 40, so a little bit. So I will go over that a little bit. Maybe the latter end of it. Have some pretty through stuff in there. Let's make sure that we get all the get everybody in so we can get it going. Hallelujah. Everybody doing this morning, everybody, I mean, this spoke everybody through to toe, all the above. Everybody doing everybody through. Hope everybody doing well. We're gonna go ahead and get straight to it and get to going. Return honest to Yahuwah, Yahusha. Infinite honest to the Melakim, double honest to all the those in prospective places, and honest to all of those in prospective places, and salute to the house of all. And shalom, shalom to all those that are coming in online. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and go over some of this. I will start I just start at verse 1. 40, and we're gonna try to get to 42 today. We'll see. It says, and great anxiety has the Lord allotted, and a heavy yoke to the children of Adam. We are in Sirach 40. From the day they leave their mother's womb until the day they return to their mothers of all living. Troubled thoughts and fear of the heart are theirs, and anxious foreboding unto death. Whether one sits on a lofty throne or grovels in the dust and ashes, whether one wears a splendid crown or clothed in the chorus of garments, there is wrath and envy and trouble and dread, terror of death, fury and strife. Even when one lies on his bed to rest, his cares disturb his sleep at night. So short is his rest, it seems like of none. To his dreams he struggles as he did by day, troubled by visions of his mind, like a fugitive fleeing from a pursuer. As he reaches safety, he wakes up, astonished that there was nothing to fear. To all flesh, human beings and beasts, but for sinners, 7 times more. Come plague, bloodsheds, fury, heat, drought, plunder, ruin, famine, and death. For the wicked evil was created. and because of them, destruction hastens. All that is of the earth returns to the earth, and all what is above returns above. All that comes from bribes or injustice will be wiped out. But loyalty remains. Loyalty remains. Very, very, very important. Um, for, First and foremost, for all of us to be loyal to the way of Yahuwah. Um, you got so many people that are actually falling by the wayside. So many people that are even giving up the walk, um, giving up what they believed in, giving up what their eyes have seen, what their ears have heard, what their hands have handled. And for whatever it is, we see people that's just walking away from the walk, not even claiming their Hebraic heritage anymore, listening to scholars or whoever, and have no loyalty to what Yahuwah has showed them, what he has revealed to them in their life because of they didn't got hurt by somebody, or something that happened to push them into what they defaulted to, what they was believing before, or just be a smoker, just be out there like a vagabond, just believing anything now. And it don't matter who you was in contact with, who hurt you, or anything like that. Your loyalty has always have to be to you. Period. Who is the head of your life? He's the ruler of your life. Your loyalty has to be to him above anybody, above anything. The issue is we have such disloyal people, that they'll be willing to sell out Yahuwah for anything and sell out what Yahuwah has established and what he has done for anything. There's no loyalty to the way, no loyalty to Yahuwah. And when people get hurt through, they have more loyalty to their emotions than to what Yahuwah has established. Let's keep reading. Where from injustice is like a flooding wadi, like a mighty stream with lightning and thunder, which in its rising rolls along with stones, but suddenly, once for all, comes to an end. That's why I like, hey, you gotta be getting your whatever you're doing, gotta be done in a right perspective, in the right way. Because if you getting fast money, it ain't gonna last. You get money that through some type of um, fast, quick way, just quick as it came, be quick as it left. The outstream of violence will not flourish, for the root of godless is on sure rocks. They're like reeds on a riverbank, whether before all other plants, but goodness like eternity will never be cut off. The righteous endure forever. Wealth or wages can make a life sweet, but better than either finding a treasure. A child or a city will preserve one name, but better than either is finding wisdom. Cattle and orchards make a person flourish, but better than either are a devoted wife. Man, a devoted wife. What does a devoted wife look like? Anybody want to throw some examples in the chat? Because number one, we don't have people that's devoted to you. And so, of course, they're not going to be devoted to a husband or devoted to a wife. If you find a woman that's not devoted to Yahuwah, she will not be devoted to you. And we, as creatures of habit, whatever we continuously submit to will be the rule of our life. Let me say that again. Whatever we continuously submit to would be the rule of our life. The sad part of this is most of this new generation that's coming up have no clue of how to be a wife. They haven't studied that, the wisdom, the history, the best outcomes. If you ask most people that have gotten married, they might say they went through some couple counseling, or they didn't put all the emphasis on the wedding day than the marriage that they're going to have to invest in for their life. Marriage is nothing but investments and returns. It's about sowing and reaping. What are you going to invest in your husband to gain his trust? What are you going to invest in your husband's to gain his ear, to gain his heart, where his mind is not clouded with your actions, in which he cannot complete the goals that he desired to complete? As a wife, do you know the power of silence and allowing your ways to speak to him in such a way that you gain his ear? That your presence signal his devotion. Because when he think about you, he's thinking about the beauty of submission, the beauty of feminine energy. A devoted wife is a woman that understands that you have created her different than her husband and know how to approach, submit, consume herself in her husband's masculinity. The essence of how a man was created, and never crossing that. The highest form of disrespect to a man is when he's met with masculine energy or ruach from his wife. Because men, masculine energy competes with masculine energy. Because men, we are creatures of conquerors. And we have to conquer all the time. And as a black man in America, life is war. You don't want to come home to your place of rest and still have to war. You find a woman that's devoted more to her feelings, you'll find a failed marriage. You find a woman that's more devoted to her emotions over you, or to please the husband, you're going to find a failed marriage. A woman that's more devoted to her fears, you're going to find a failed marriage. What's going to happen if you don't, I got it. So if you don't learn, if you don't learn how to become devoted, just period. You should learn how to be a person of devotion. This society have gotten us so devoted to anything, and everything is quick, everything is fast, everything is options. And if this woman is devoted to her hurt, her past, she will recreate it, even though she has a beautiful new thing now. She won't know how to keep it beautiful. And before you know it, if you search out her last relationship or the relationship where she got hurt, you'll see she's recreating the conditions. She's recreating the conditions. That's why it's so important to understand for a single woman to understand how to be devoted to Yahusha Hamashiach, how to be devoted um, to truth, how to be devoted to her Yah-given feminine essence, how to be devoted to a meek and quiet Ruach. Not just learn it, but devoted to it. How to be devoted sometimes to silence, because one of a woman's greatest strength is meekness. That means that she have power under control. She know how to use her power because she know Yahuwah is backing her. So she's not so talkative, knowing that a man is speech sensitive. You can't give a man a whole bunch of words and you complain about the whole bunch of things because now it becomes a nag. And when a man feel like you're pushing him, you're gonna rebel. He'll sit there and look at you while you saying all that. And if you put him in a place of a boy or your son, he'll tune you out. He won't give you an ear because you led with disrespect. But a woman that's devoted to Yahuwah in prayer and intercession in essence knows the power of silence because Yahuwah will speak for her. And then when she speaks, it's so strategically sound that it ministers to the ear of her husband and can show her husband his wrong through vindication because Yahuwah already done it. Now, I ain't telling you to do that to somebody that you know you done married a narcissist and you done married somebody that you know that's selfish and that's just to themselves and all that type of stuff. That's different. But a woman that knows that her father in the Shamayim will speak for her because she's first devoted to him and not her emotions, not herself. She don't just blow up and just go crazy. She's not a busybody and everybody matters or spreading her matters around to family members. You got a woman that's recreating the conditions of a toxic relationship. She would if she was bred or planted in toxicity, she's gonna always recreate it, even in a through situation. It has to be toxic. You have to be lying. You don't have any. All these things happen. So this is why the scripture talks about a devoted wife that's not devoted to her feelings, not devoted to her emotions, not devoted to her past, not devoted to her trauma, but devoted to Yahuwah and devoted to Yahuwah's original intention for who a woman's supposed to be. And it's in the scripture. Because a woman that's devoted to Yahuwah will know how to recognize Yahuwah in a man and don't put herself in a bad situation because of loneliness, because of fear of rejection. All right. Wine and strong drink delight the soul, but better than either the love of friends. And that's the truth. Wine do make the soul merry, make you feel good, but it's nothing greater than to know you got trustworthy, loving, covenant friends. Because the scriptures only they don't loosely call people friends. You got to be made a covenant with a person before you can call them a friend. I mean, y'all done cried together. Y'all done seen each other's shortcomings and loved each other anyway. Y'all done been together, been there for each other in your times of need. There's no take give relationship. And boy, you got to start paying attention to that. You can never stay friends with somebody that's selfish. Because as simple as this, you got takers and you got givers. And you got to look at the nature of the patterns of people relationships. See, you don't make decisions off moments in time. You make decisions off patterns over time. Somebody can have a bad day, a bad situation, and that you cannot allow a person to become that moment. They're human. We are all dust. So moments in time don't equal to character. But if you see a pattern over time that can be measured, then you see the true quality of the individual. And you don't listen to future faking. In the sense where they're speaking of they're gonna change and how this gonna be, but then everything about them is take from you rather than give. Because a taker would take without limits. Their whole relationship with you would be what you're doing for them. And it'll be very transactional. If they do something for you, it's about what's going to be the return from them. It's not genuinely love, but then they can take that. You remember I did that for you because they already got in mind what they're going to take from you. Because takers take without limitation. But the problem is, like I heard a quote say, givers give without boundaries. A taker would take without a boundary and a giver give without a boundary. And if you got a husband and a wife married and one is a taker and one is a giver, that giver is going to waste 10 years of giving before they realize that they ain't got nothing else to give. And the taker been to manipulate and train them in such a way that even when they ain't got nothing else to give, they still try to give. You better learn. There's no limitations to a person that is ruled by self. They will destroy you and everything around you if you don't serve them. Y'all just be around here calling everybody your friends. Like, everybody my out. I'm not a coach. People always got a bad situation and circumstance and putting pressure on you to get them out, and they keep getting themselves in that. You better watch the nature of people and believe what they show you. Don't believe what you want to see through the lenses and what you hope. Believe, man. Trust the actions of people because their actions gonna reveal what they believe. Just keep watching that over time. Just show you they committed to themselves. So you got to know, you got to learn the balance of that. All right, let's keep going. Relatives and helpers for times of distress were better than that charity that rescues. Gold and silver make one secure, but better than that sound judgment. Boy, that's so important because you can have all the gold and the silver. If you don't have sound judgment, you'll give it away. Wealth and vigor make the heart go, but better of Yahuwah is no one. Whoever has it needs seek no other support. That is reverencing Yahuwah and know that He's always watching and He's taking note of that. I mean, Yahuwah is the biggest security camera. It catches everything, and he got a security camera on the inside of you that catches the intentions of your heart. And what you're gonna do? You got to stand before Him. Fear Yahuwah is a paradise of blessings. Its canopy over all that is glorious. My son, do not live in the life of a beggar, but better to die than to beg. That's another thing. Man, when you got grown people still begging for just normal needs that just hard work would do, that's a major problem. You know, when one has to look to a stranger's table, life is not worth living. The delicacies offered bring revulsion of spirit to the intelligent and inward torture. In the mouth of the shameless, begging is sweet, but within him that burns like fire. All right, let's go on. Sirach 41. O death, how bitter is the thought of you, for the one at peace in his home, for the one who is serene and always successful, who can still enjoy life's pleasures. O death, how welcome is your sentence to the weak, failing in strength, stumbling and tripping on everything, and the sight gone and hope is lost. Do not fear death's decree for you. Remember, it embraces those before you, those to come. This decree for all flesh is from Malua. When should you reject a law of the Most High? Whether has whether one has lived 1,000 years, 100, or 10, in Sheol, there's no arguments about life. That's true. The children of sinners are a reprobate line, and witless offsprings are in the homes of the wicked. The heritage of children of sinners will perish, and of their offspring will be perpetual disgrace. Children's curse their wicked father, for they suffer disgrace because of him. Woe to you, O wicked people, who forsake the law of the Most High. If you have children, calamity will be theirs, and if you beget them, it will only for groaning. When you stumble, there's lasting joy, and when you die, you become cursed. All that is not returns to naught. So to the godless, from void to void. The human body is a fleeting thing, but a virtuous name will never be annihilated. Have respect for your name, for it will stand by you, more than thousands of precious treasures. A good thing of life lasts a number of days, but a good name for days without number. Man, that's so important. Hey, man, let's keep going. Verse 14. Hidden wisdom conceals treasure. Of what value is either? Better is the person who hides his folly than the one who hides his wisdom. And also, well, let me say this. It is extremely, a through name will outlast um, any lies that's not true. Um, and that's why when your integrity has been challenged, you cannot vindicate yourself. You just have to let time and patterns do the vindication. If you are who you say you are, it will outlast anybody that's lying on your character. There's one thing about it. You're going to consistently be who you are, and who you are have been ordained to be. This is why I can be in such shalom with so many people that done did YouTube videos, so many people that done did whatever they done. I know who I am. I know who I have been. I know the track record of 20 years in ministry and what has been said. I don't concern myself with people that just pop up online on YouTube with nothing or nobody validating them. No history of nobody being changed and delivered, set free from their ministry alone. Whether awakening became exposure videos, not truly setting people free and delivering people through the name of Yahushua Mashiach. What can people really say in your presence? Have you really been seen and heard during the works of Yahuwah? When you lay hands on people, have you delivered people from sicknesses, from demons? What have you done? Have you shifted people's depression? Have you who has showed you the intentions of people's heart without them saying something? And you prophetically speak exactly what they're going through without knowing them, that bring them to tears, and where they have to say the Lord is with you. Have you given anybody through Yahushua Mashiach? Can they say, can they? I ain't talking about people that got mad because of situations or circumstances, but the facts of what happened. Did they receive from you beautiful matches at some point? The oil of joy for their mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. Can that be said consistently about you? Can people say they feel the presence of Yahuwah around you? They got revelation, not just historical facts, but they got revelations from you that if you pray, you break something off them. That the words that Yahuwah then gave you, break some darkness out of their mind, out of their being, that they bow the knee to Yahushua Hamashiach. What's on your track record? What's on your list? See, this is the stuff that's important, man, about the words of you. If a person is demon possessed and you that doing exposure videos and they put them before me and you, have Yahuwah granted you the authority to get the demon out and to set the person free, to let the oppressed go free, to bind up the broken hearted? Where's your works in Yahusha that has to come from a place where it can't be measured? I ain't talking about where your teaching's at. I ain't talking about just even scriptural breakdown. But where's the proof of it? These days, anybody can get behind a camera and say whatever, and then people love messiness. But people ain't got no works. People scoff at us, quote unquote, speaking in tongues, but them same tongues done got people delivered and shifted things and a room of darkness over people, then broke things off of people, then help people see visions of Yahuwah. I mean, that's why, this stuff is funny to me because at the end of the day, these things that's going to be consistent. It's going to follow a name of a person. And we got thousands of witnesses, just like we got thousands of people saying to me, people just popping up here now. But notice that this whole time we've been silent. We could have had over 600 to 700 people go online and do videos about the freedom that they done got as themselves as an individual from the ministry, the freedom they done got in their marriage, how they became whole from the teaching, from the laying on the hands, from the anointing. And then one thing people see about us, we always get all cabal and honor to Yahushua Mashiach and Yahuwah, which is the source of all living things. So you don't try to vindicate yourself, because a man that tries to vindicate himself becomes a fool to those watching him. That means you're trying to be something that you're just supposed to be already. You gotta let Yahuwah do the vindication, man. You gotta let Yahuwah do it. Let's keep going. Better is the person who hides his folly than the one who hides his wisdom. My children, listen to instruction about shame. Judge of disgrace according to my rules. Not every kind of shame is shameful, nor is every kind of disgrace to be recognized. Man, some shame is stewed. It's some stuff that you have to go through so you can strip pride away from you. It can strip you believing in your own righteousness out of you. Some shame is through because it makes you learn, it makes you get it, it makes you get better, it makes you recognize something that you weren't recognizing before. If you know all things come from you, I know everything that came, even in this season, been ordained by you. And it's a lesson. And my goal is to learn the lesson, not prove myself. I'm looking through everything that in my life that I done went through. I always said the end goal, I'm looking at, well, what are you saying? What are you doing? What do you want me to learn from this? So I can get the lesson out of my trial. That's more valuable than the lesson is more important than the finish line. If you only focus on the finish line, you will not learn the lesson. That's like a man that's running a race, running the 400 meters or the 800 meters. And I give you a case in point, right? Now, I was an athlete. I ain't gonna say was. I'm still an athlete. Yeah, like that. But in high school, I played football, basketball, and I ran track. I wasn't real fast in track, but the main reason I ran track was to stay in shape for when football camp come back around and then basketball season. Um, so, so I'm on a track team, and now my brother is was a track star. He was powerful when it comes to that. But so I'm on a track team, mainly staying in shape. I would get mainly when I'm racing. I never got a first place. Whoa, it's me. I'm usually like in third, something like that. Cause track just wasn't my thing. I think I got a second place one time in my life, unless it's like neighborhood racing. And I'm a trash talker with any of that, so I trash talk myself into a win. But I really wasn't real fast, right, like that. So what happened? Uh, One of the guys that ran the 400, he either wasn't there, he got hurt, something happened, and my coach needed somebody to step in. I'm still talking about the lesson is more important than the finish line. So I like, okay. I said I run a coach. Now, I have never ran the 400 ever in my track time, unless we're just jogging. And the 400 is one full lap around the track. So I became so focused on the finish line rather than what I need to learn to conquer the one lap first, conquer my breathing. I didn't know none of that. My main thing was get to the finish line before anybody get there. It's a science behind everything. And there's science behind running and the science behind running the 400. So I like, yeah, I run it. So I got out there. Listen, I got to go. They shot that gun, and y'all should have seen me, man. I was like Forrest Gump say, I was running. Listen, I shot out there. I didn't know you don't do the 400 like that. I ran the 400 first quarter like running the 200. So I got in front of I was in front of everybody, just going wow, 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 wow. Hit that corner, and then when I got on that straight line before you hit the next corner, I took it up another notch. And in my mind, as I'm running, I'm like, I'm winning. I'm winning. Nobody's better than me. I'm winning. So I'm like, now I'm going like that. Now I don't know why I make them sound effects. That's just how I do when I run it. So in my mind, I'm like, get it. And everybody else pacing. Man, listen. I turned that corner, that last corner, I got by midway, and everything getting me started breaking down. My engine light came on. My check engine light came on when I tried to go around that last corner, boy. I'm talking about all the lights on my dash flashing, just flashing. Like we ain't got no more oil, we ain't got no more coolant, we ain't got no more transmission fluid. My pistons then broke down, all of it. And man, when I tell you, listen, man, by the time I got to that straightaway, all my tires was flat. My little legs was shaking like that right there. And everybody ran me down. I'm talking about everybody. So my whole track team was cracking up. They wasn't even rooting for me, y'all. They was so busy laughing, hanging over the gate. I'm talking about crying, laughing, man. Cause you know how you get like that, and you just ain't got no more. And you think you're running, but you really just walking and your legs just wobbling. Hey man, listen. I came in last place. I think even the little white boy beat me. I came in last place. And when I tell you I fell like over that finish line, rolled in the grass and caught a Charlie horse. So like everybody was like, I mean, they was cracking up laughing at me. Even my brother was going in. It was hilarious. But my focus was on the finish line rather than the lesson. So a lot of times, what my brother he talked to me about, he's like, "Listen, how are you breathing?" And I was just how I breathe every day. He was like, "No," he said, "Running is first about your breathing, and if you're running a distance that's longer, you can create a rhythm with your breathing that your body will follow." And I never forgot that. Like anytime that like I'm running a distance, I always get a rhythm with my breathing. And from my nose to my mouth, from my nose to my mouth, and I have a rhythm, and then my body will sync up with it. Right. And that alone, that wisdom in that taught me how to run. Then he was like, next thing is form. I'll show you how to form your body to run where it's effortless and you're not working against yourself because your arms are dangling and you're doing more work than what the track requires. Then he said the next thing is about pace. Let me show you how to first breathe, two, construct your body, three, let me show you about pace. And I learned pace, how to pace yourself around the first curve, how to position your body with the straight way, and then timing. What's the fourth thing? Because that showed the timing aspect showed you when to pull back, but when to pull out and give it all you got, so you don't run out at the end. So my next time, everybody, the shame of that. That's why shame is through. The shame of that made me because I could have been like, I ain't never running 400 again. But I got this thing in me. I was like, okay, I finna prove this. And then I became a 400 runner, and I just started practicing and working on the 400 from that day. So that shame gave me an opportunity to learn and become better. So in life, it ain't about getting to whatever your goals are, even whatever your vision is, the way you who showed you. It's about being aware, being vigilant of the lessons of the journey. But then in the end, you won't see a finish line. You'll only see a journey. Lessons. And by the time you get to the finish line, you got so much wisdom and insight because of the journey of what happened that you can help another person. And you ain't wore out by the time you got there. So whenever I'm going through something, I'm not trying to get past this so fast. Like, you just get me out of this. You will just free me. Now my question is, okay, you will, if you bought this on, because I got to also look at three levels too. I got to look at what I'm going through. Is it something that I sold that has now became a return? Because what a man soweth, he gonna reap. So sometimes I'm reaping. Listen, repentance do not stop consequences. So what you would do if you don't learn, if you don't listen through instruction, he gonna send pain, and don't nothing teach you like pain. So what happens is I got to first look at these areas. Is this something that I sowed that I'm reaping? And if that is, you just got to endure and you got to learn that when you go through the next cycle of it, it won't have the same effect on you and you'll be able to win this time. Two, is this something that's an illusion that the enemy has created based off my past, based off my feeling? Because when the enemy creates an illusion, it's something dealing with the reminder of something dealing with your past. The third thing is this something that's sent by Yahuwah to get me to my next destination. So me evaluating all of those things, then I say, okay, Yahuwah, what is the lesson in this? What do you want me to learn? And then it's about paying attention because the lesson is not always obvious, but it will be found if you're searching it out, and Yahuwah will conceal it for you to search it out. It's the kapod of Yahuwah to conceal a thing, but it's the honor of kings to do what? Search it out. So don't be like me trying to get to that finish line. Learn the lessons, the mechanics. So now, when I learned that lesson from my brother, and then my track coach began to add to it, I became more valuable in that race. And then my time got better. I can get through consistency and discipline, I could become better in that. So the next race that I ran, I worked out, I practiced, and I did well. I came in like third place, I think it was. But everybody clapped for me like I came in first place because they seen the improvement. And people remember, we got a great crowd of witnesses. Everybody's watching to see your improvement. What are you showing? It ain't never just you. You always got an audience. You'll know who's watching you. I hope that, y'all. A lot of doggone stories, man. All right, well, I'm at verse 16. Nor for every kind of disgrace to be recognized. Before father and mother be ashamed of immorality, before a prince and a ruler of falsehood, before a master and a mistress of deceit, before the public assembly of crime, before associates and friends of disloyalty, and in their place where you settled in of theft, be ashamed of breaking an oath. Be ashamed of breaking an oath or a covenant. and of stretching your elbow at dinner, or refusing to give when asked, or rebuffing your own relative, or defrauding another of his appointed share, of failing to return a greeting, of gazing at a man's wife, of entertaining thoughts about another woman. Man, all those things are important, man. All those things are important. Whatever you commit to Yahuwah, uh, you need to carry it out. Um, Let me look at all of that. Stretching under your elbow at dinner. I don't know. Maybe that's an ancient thing. Refusing to give when you're asked. That's if you have it within your means to do it. You know, not every time somebody asks you something that you're giving it to them, because you train people how to be. So you got to have wisdom. Um, of failing to return a greeting. Yeah, that's just disrespectful. Of gazing at a man's wife, man, that's another thing. You got a ruach of lust on you. It don't matter who it is. Of entertaining thoughts about another woman, that's a man. That's just one thing about men, that you this is where you start messing up. When you emotionally connect your thoughts with another woman that's not your wife, because there ain't no reason to do that. You always got a place for your emotions to connect. When you start doing it with another woman, where you start giving her your vulnerability, you setting yourself up. It doesn't matter time, because you're giving her, you stealing from your wife to give it to another woman. And once you start connecting emotionally, next time you're gonna start bonding at the heart. And little ruachs of attractions and all that stuff gonna start coming. Setting yourself up. Verse 22, trifling with a servant girl you have, and violating her bed, of using harsh words with friends, of following up your gifts with insults. All right, so that's what we had today. Let's see. Look like 42 is a continuance, and I'm gonna stop and I'll pick that up next week. Hope that gave y'all a little insight and wisdom for the day. Life is about the lesson and not the finish line. I always remember that. Um, okay. Anybody got any questions? Any questions? All right. I don't see anything in the chat. Look like everything. Nobody have any questions? Praise Yahushua. All right. Well, I hope this was enough. Just a little wisdom on Yom Rishon. Pray that everybody have a through day, a through Yom, and we will see you next week, same time. All right.